Welcome to The Short Score, your weekly update of roping news from around the industry, where you can find the latest on the sport from the pro rodeo ranks to the jackpot world. I'm Taylor Vollen, and I'm your host. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Short Score. It's your host, Taylor Vollen. This episode is coming to you guys straight from Las Vegas. I know a lot of you guys have seen our social media and know that we hit the ground running when we got to Vegas. Something we like to do every year is start the finals off with an episode of The Score or Short Score, sitting down with one of the guys here in Las Vegas. And today's episode just might be one of my favorite episodes ever between The Score and The Short Score. Our wonderful and fearless leader, Chelsea Shaffer, and I were at the Thomas Mack this morning watching the guys run the steers through. And afterward, Chelsea had the opportunity to sit down with a fan favorite and just overall wonderful person, Colter Todd. You guys definitely showed us this year through our social media that you are big fans of Derek and Colter. And this is an episode, if you are not familiar with him, you're going to want to listen. This is, like I said, one of my favorite episodes ever. I am so lucky that I got to be a fly on the wall and sit there and hear it in person. Colter came and found Chelsea and I after the steer run through down in the media room, and I had chills during their conversation. Colter last made the finals over a decade ago and on the head side, and as you guys know, he made it this year healing for Derek Begay. This episode is very real and raw and honest. Colter gets very real about what it's like to be back in Vegas and what it's like to be healing instead of on the head side. And he is very honest about the nerves and everything that has him a little anxious, I guess you could say, to start the week. I know you guys are going to love this, so enjoy. This episode of The Short Score is brought to you by Purina. The PhD equine nutritionists at Purina Animal Nutrition tackle problems using science, and their love of horses keeps them at it until they get it right. Even with the most established feeds, they keep innovating. Even when it takes years of research, they don't stop until it's right. They are dedicated to the scientific method, but it can't capture the feeling of seeing a horse reach their full potential. It takes science and love to help your horses live their best life. Put their research to the test at horseinnovation.com.
Colter, we are at 2 days before you just ran the steers through. How did it feel on the opposite end of things in the Thomas and Mack?
Nerve-wracking, I guess you'd say. I don't know for sure. I don't know how to put that into words. Good.
Good feels like you just went with an answer because you didn't know how to put it into words. What felt good? Or was it just good to be back here, or what felt good?
I didn't fall off. And it did. I don't know. I guess you'd say I caught for what I run 5 steers. Mm-hmm. And since there was 4 of them that were in my loop by 2 feet, so that I don't know. It didn't just feel completely out of whack. That horse felt good, so it was kind of a tricky deal because I was trying to take in a lot of things all at once. Mm-hmm. I was trying to feel that horse and then feel the run, the steers, and then also like I'm on the other side of it. Oh, like on the heel side. So it was almost like heading today for me. I had a lot of things that I was trying to feel on that.
So that's Doc's gunslinger chick. That's Jade of Paul's that he won the world on in 2020. So we know she's good, or she's proven. She's certainly, but Paul's not riding her. Why did you decide that was the horse to bring here?
I didn't. No, I don't know. Kind of, I don't know. It worked out yesterday, I guess. So for as of right now, it was my horse, I'd got my horse back about 2 weeks ago, trying to kind of get him in shape.
The bay.
Yes. Feeling him out. And he just did not feel good at all as far as getting down the pen to the steer. Like I just knew. You seen the fourth one, right? I think it was the fourth one. That's how I think I'd have felt.
Yeah, where you guys got out of whack.
Well, I was just like, I was almost like trying to ease through that run. And you, like, these steers won't let you just ease. You're not going to just ease through these guns. So, on the way up here yesterday, Paul called me actually looking for a stall. And I kind of laughed because I baited him into asking how it was going. And I told him I was just driving, thinking. And he's like, what you thinking about? I was like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to ride out there. And he's like, well, what are you thinking? And I was like, I don't know. What do you got? He said, well, you're more than welcome to try that mare if it's all right and with the owners. And I said, well, if it is, like, find out. And then he called me back and said, yeah, they said it was fine. I said, well, is it all right if I run some on her today just to kind of get a half feel? And he's like, yep, they said it's perfect. I would run them. And I was glad he did, just because she's definitely a little bit different feel than, say, the roan or a lot of the other horses I rode. And I didn't feel bad. It felt bad. So as far as how it came about, I don't know. I was originally, way back when I knew I wasn't going to have mine for very long before this, I'd asked him about the roan because I'd rode him, quite a bit.
Rock, yeah.
Yes, towards the end of the year. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, it's perfect. That'll work. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, well, so it was kind of, I was pretty comfortable. And then about 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, he called and said that Apollo had maybe pulled the suspensory, did something.
Strained a suspensory, yeah.
And he's like, hey, just to give you a heads up. And I was like, well, no, I get it. Like, your deal's your deal. Like, you've got to take care of you. You don't have to worry about me. So anyway, it kind of got me in a pickle to where I didn't really have much other than my bay. And then once I figured out he wasn't going to work, then it was a lot of praying and a lot of let's just see. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said getting ready for this was stressful when we talked the other day. What all has been stressful about getting ready to be A, away from home for 2 weeks, and B, at your first NFR since 2008? Yeah. Tell me about it.
Fear.
Yeah?
Well, like my whole crew wants to come out here, and my wife and I had talked, and like we wanted like this to be both my boys, my daughter, her, like we're all going to go the whole time. Like we're going through this as a family, just because before I didn't have all the kids, and they were all, Madeline was 4, I think, at her last one. Colter Todd was just a baby, so they don't know anything about this. It's been 16 years now, I think, since pretty much. And so it's kind of new for me. Everything was new, so I was like, let's make it all. And that, it's dry at home. The ranch that I've got there's no like dirt tanks or running water. Like everything's well watered, so you got to pump it with the generator. Then that's just a lot of fear, like trying to have everything in order. And I'm bad to look at all the bad things that could happen, possibly. Stressing over stuff I have no control over or that hasn't happened, but I'm always like, if this happens, if that happens. So trying to get all that ready, plus not really knowing what I was going to ride, so didn't want to look dumb out here. Because it's, we talked, like, when you get a lot of people saying they're behind you or, rooting you on or whatever, and your partner, the fear of letting other people down is hard on me, I guess you'd say, just because I don't know why that is. That's just the way it is for me. So it's almost like the fear just becomes overwhelming at moments. Like, what if something goes south at home on the ranch? What if I don't rope good? Blah, blah, blah. So it was just, I had quite a few, about 2 or 3 weeks there where my wife was really having to work hard at consoling me.
What does she say that works?
It's going to be fine, mostly. Like, she's good. She likes to listen. She does listen, but then at the end of it, she's like, it's going to be fine. And, like, I always come back with, oh, I know that, but, and I think she's good about, she knows me well. I mean, almost 20 years since we were teenagers. So she definitely knows everything about me. She did say at one point, like, I thought you'd be older. I thought you'd handle this a little more better than you did. And I had to actually, it kind of set me back because it kind of let me down as far as, like, I thought I would be better than this too. So I don't know. That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Ranching, fear.
What do you pray about it then too? Like after what, or do you just leave God out of team roping altogether?
The team roping, I tried to leave him out, just because
I've heard people say that a lot over the years.
It's not I don't want to look at dragging him into it. What I do pray to him about is, like, to give me, I guess, a peace that I at least will conduct myself in a good way for people around me, my kids, my wife, not let my emotions become, because we know how that can get out of control, especially you add stress, fear, anger, whatever, you add it all together, and I can get not very good. And and then you get out here on more of a public setting. At home you can lose your cool on your kids or your wife or whatever, like working cattle, like I do that a lot, like really throw a big fit and get mad, and then it's easy to just, I can pull them together later and apologize, right? Like, and they either whatever, they have to deal with it, and they're your family, they can't leave, so they have to deal with it. Where out here it's like you're going to leave somebody with an impression, and I guess that's a fear, like, that I can let, in a sense I'd say I let God down, and I don't want to do that. And then, but as far as, like, I guess I pray for wisdom. Like, what do you want me to do? And then it's like the Bible story where God had told Abraham, hey, load up your crew, everything you got, and I want you to go to a land that I'll show you. But he doesn't tell him where, how long it's going to take. Really, there's not many specifics on where he wants him to go. And he did it, and I always think about that. Like, that's faith, because then you have to just have continual trust. And I was thinking about, like, his family asking him, like, where in the heck are we going, and what's he going to say? I don't know. I mean, honestly, right? And so I guess I kind of put myself in that situation, like, because people have been asking me for a while, like, what are you going to ride out there? I don't know. My wife's good about it. Like, she gets it, because she would say, what do you think? I said, I don't know. She's like, I get it. We don't know. I have no idea. How's it going to go? I don't know. Are you confident? No, I'm not. But we're here, and we are going to enjoy it, at least for the moment, and we'll just see. So as far as bringing God into it, yes, a lot, but not as far as, like, the winning,
like, can I catch 2 feet?
Right? No, never like that, because that's all on you, preparation. I mean, it's like a job. You can pray for a job, but he can't make you do the job good. Like, he can give you the job, like, here's your job, but now it's up to you to do your job good and to keep the job and excel. So that's how I look at everything else. You know, like rain. Like, that's something I pray a lot about. Yeah. Because that's one thing I have no control over.
Yeah.
But everything else is all something I can do. Decisions that I make.
Yeah.
To kind of like the horses or whatever. Like, trying not to make the wrong decisions, but the right ones, and then letting him strategically place them, and then I just hopefully connect the dots right.
Connecting dots. That's funny. So it's been how many years since I wrote a story about the fact that you were, like, the only person who'd ever quit rodeo for good. And that was 2018, spring of 2018. 5 years ago, you were, I called you out of the blue. Did Derek warn you that I was going to call you about that? No, I just called you and wanted you to tell me your whole life story.
Right. Like, it was,
that's so rude. Who does that?
Him. But that's not rude. He just lets stuff happen how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Which is better, I think, sometimes.
Well, it was rude of me, too, to just be like,
no, it's
so hi.
How are you going to do it? Like, how else are you going to do it?
Yeah. Was it surprising to you that we wanted to talk? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think still our number one most read, even before this, was our most read personality profile on Team Roping Journal's website. So I quit writing retirement stories a long time ago, and I knew better than to write a story about somebody that was never going to rodeo again. But you told me that bugged you this summer. Or not that it bugged. Is bug you the right word? Tell me. Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, I've thought about that because at that moment in time, I mean, I'm, 10, 12 years into not rodeoing and not having even this much. I mean, like, no. Especially healing. I mean, like, no. Like that. I mean, you always think about, well, what about if you got the right horse or whatever, head horse, blah, blah. It's like, no, because I was, at that moment, I was 100% set on what I had going on and my kids and everything. Like, no. Like, I was confident in that. I thought if there was any possibility that I would be maybe like circuit rodeo or something later with one of my boys. That was, in my mind, I thought that was the only possibility of like entering rodeos, as far as enough where you'd say, oh, you win a little bit. So this deal is bugged me, but then on the other hand, I looked at it as it was not a plan. It was not something that Derek and I sat down ever and said, hey, this is what we're going to do, and, start preparing, practicing, or anything like that. It was never that way. So I guess am I a liar?
No.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that depends on who you want to talk to, right? Like, because in a sense I could be, because I'm back. Sure. Is there a timetable on when the truth is, or when your word's good or not?
No.
Well, right. I mean, sure, we can all look at it and say, oh, no. And I actually have to, I guess I need to be more careful on what I do say, right? Because you don't know.
I don't even know that you said it. I said it. Like, I mean.
Yeah, but even if you didn't, I would have said it. I mean, I'd have said it. I'd have felt I'd have felt confident enough to say, I will not be here again, getting a back number, running the steers through rope like with this. I'd have never thought it. So how it all come about is kind of crazy. It's always, I guess it's easy for me to just sit. It's easy for me, and it's hard for me to put into words my story or my life up to this point, because most all of it has to do with, and this is tricky because you could sit here and listen to me and say, that guy doesn't have any trust or any faith whatsoever. But that's how my whole life has been. I don't know a lot of things, but I'm not afraid to throw stuff before God and say, okay, you need to direct me. I don't know which way to go. I need help, and just, like I said, connect the dots, and then however that may be, sometimes backwards, sometimes forward, sometimes this, that, whatever. And it's been exciting, and I'm praying that it's been really good for my boys, if nothing else, and my daughter. I can't say that, like my kids, because rodeos a lot of times is about what you can get. You want to go to a God for things. So I would say, like, you could go to the rodeo gods if you want to say, okay, this is what it takes for me to do good, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. And I'm not that way. My God is, he's the one that gets me through the tough times. Am I grateful for the blessings? Yes. But am I looking for the blessings? I would say I appreciate them when they come, very much so. But I'm not looking for them. That's kind of more on ability or whatnot. Like the winning. Did I ever pray like, oh, I'm going to make... No, not one time. It was more like, am I supposed to be here? If I am, you're going to have to show me.
Yeah.
And that's... The ranching's big time that way, right? Because I get to... When you don't own the ranch, when you're making payments to the bank and you go through a drought, there comes a point when it's like, okay, on paper, this is not going to work. You have to have something to make your payments, and you also have to have something to be able to keep going. And I've been to that point now twice where it's like, okay, God, like, if I'm supposed to stay here, it's going to rain, or the market will offset this, that, whatever. Goes back to the dots. Like, it's all got to work out, and it has to be him. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
I can't make it rain, and I can't control the market. All I can do is manage the cows to the best of my ability. And so far, it's always been like, yep, you get to keep ranching. And that's kind of how this year went. I kept really wanting to go home. Like, never said it, thought it more. Like, I'm ready. Like,
Do you think Derek knew you wanted to go home?
I have no idea. I tried to. Hopefully not. I mean, I would hope I was a good enough friend that he would never know that, because we were together, and I mean, we're a team, right? So hopefully he didn't know. And then we'd win. I mean, it was just crazy how it worked out, which we won a lot. I had one moment this kind of later this summer, early fall, where I got nervous because I was pretty close to being in, and he was not, and my horse wasn't working good, which is about the time I would say he started really getting hurt, like sore, and it was affecting how he was working and everything. And like, there was some serious fear there, because I was like, this will be the worst thing ever if I make it and he doesn't. Because the year before, I'd went with him there just at the end.
Just to help him, yeah.
And I didn't quite do good enough to get him in. That was kind of a hard letdown. And that's maybe a driving factor that led into this year. It was like, okay, if he has the confidence in me to give me the chance, I would like to accomplish something, like get him in. And there was a little while there for about 2 or 3 weeks where I was like, this is going to be the worst feeling ever if I make it and I don't rope good enough to get him in. Like, that'd have been a hard pill to swallow. It worked out. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. It worked out the good way.
What has anything changed as far as, I mean, obviously, you were talking about the spotlight and how you're here and everybody can see you. I mean, Facebook might have been invented, but just barely in 2008.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
There was no TikTok.
Right.
There was
It was nothing.
How has that part of the experience changed for you? Or have you even, like, given it thought or recognition? Or do your kids tell you if we post something about you on Facebook or TikTok? Or
I have found out people know a lot more about what's going on than I do. Because of that. Like, they will say stuff like, hey, I saw this, or I saw that, or I read this, or I read, and I'm like, most of the time, you know, they don't say that. They just say, I heard. And I'd be like, I never said nothing. Well, somebody, whether it would be my kids, Begay, somebody got a picture or something, and it's just amazing how a story, so, boy, there's no sneaking around. Like, there is no secrets. Or, you know, if that makes, not saying it in a bad way, but it just, like, people know stuff. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. Where before, is either you had a reporter that would tell the story, and the rest of it would just be like, hey, if you ran into him, you could talk to him. Now it's like, hey.
Yeah, this is going to be on.
Yeah, like breaking in steer. Well, you know, it's like when I walked in, the conversation, I was like, people know a lot. And they know it that. Like, if I'd have fell off, people would have known it before we got done breaking in steers. I'm just saying, or whatever, you know, whatever.
You have a real fear of falling off, because I think the last time we interviewed you was at Greeley, and you thought you were going to fall off Chase Tryon's heel horse, too.
That would be a really hard embarrassment for me if I fell off. Not that it can't happen, and it has happened to people, and could happen to me, but I don't really want to.
Let's not even put that
out
into the universe.
Right. Well, whatever. Right. I used to use that big stuff like that for an example. That's not that big a deal, but yet people would know about it really fast. So it's crazy how fast information travels now.
Yeah. And, what else is different? Anything? Do you catch yourself saying, like, "Wow"? Before it was. I mean, we're in this big giant press room that you guys didn't have.
Yeah. This was not. Well, everything's changed some. The town's bigger. There's people to go faster. People go faster now. I do know that. It seems like people go way faster.
Do you think would it be fun to head here again in this building, like to try to be 3-3 quite a few times in a row?
I would say on that it would depend on like a horse.
A horse, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For me, like I've gotten to where I know if the right horse, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It would almost be easier now. I think like the steers here, they're strong, and they're pushing on the end of it, and like it takes a dang good heel horse to be able to get down the pin, keep moving forward, and give you a good throw, and you only got 1 or 2 good throws before you're in the fence and you don't get to control the go. Mm-hmm. Like I was thinking about that, like this is tricky over here because I'm watching him almost like wanting to think, is he going to nod yet or not? And that's tricky, where on the head side, you know, mm-hmm. like, you know, I'm fixing to nod or I'm nodding or whatever. Mm-hmm. Where over here, you're like at his mercy. I actually have more respect for hazers. Like after like just healing right now, I was like, man, I was thinking that at one point today. I think it was maybe the second steer, and Derek was taking quite a while over there and whatnot. Yeah. And I think Jade even took off, like I must have quit breathing or something. She thought we were on go. Anyway, I was sitting there thinking like, man, I would hate to be a hazer in the bulldogging right now, like, because you know if you're late, mm-hmm. like you cost that guy. Like mm-hmm. in the team roping, you cost yourself, so you're invested. But I was mm-hmm. thinking like a hazer, like to feel like you cannot let that guy down. That's mm-hmm. all you're there to do is help that guy.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with you. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot more respect because I was like, this is crazy intense right here.
Chad Masters, which he was talking about heading, but the analogy he made for me once was it's like there's water rides at amusement parks that you stand in a tube and you don't know when the bottom's going to just drop out of the tube, and you go down a speed slide, and that's what scoring. It was a scoring analogy for a horse, right. But that sounds a lot like what you're doing because you don't know exactly when Derek's going to nod his head.
Right, and you don't want to, even like bulldogging's one thing, but heeling, like you don't want to be late. I was late on that fourth one. I was almost like relaxed on I think it was the fourth one. Mm-hmm. I was almost like relaxed, like okay, the first 3 went good. I felt good. Mm-hmm. I was almost like relaxed and just gonna ease through the run, and holy cow, like I was beat from out of the chute in the turn. I was beat all the way around there, and it was kind of a good thing, I think, because it made me realize like, hey, you even here, like you can't just be relaxed. You'd better be on point.
What were you trying to feel with Jade, or what was different about her, and what were you trying to kind of get with or adjust?
I guess she's a tighter, like mm-hmm. there's a lot of raw power feeling in there, mm-hmm. and so I guess just to feel like, okay, what does this all feel like? Like leaving the box, getting my swing up, getting to the steer, through the turn. What does this all feel like? And so I was really trying to just get the feel to where it's, some horses it's easy to just go and your swing comes up and you're just in your spot, and other ones you feel behind the whole time. So I was like, okay, what is this going to feel like to where it's not a shell shock come Thursday night when you leave there, and trying to be ready to do your deal completely on reaction, because you're not going to be able to think nothing. Yeah. So I tried to get a lot of the thinking out of the way today, as far as thinking through the run a little bit. So your day, so it's Tuesday that we're doing this. Wednesday is tomorrow. You do the grand entry practice and all that stuff. Do you have, at present, as I'm looking at you, you have no patches on your shirt. Do you have any patches that will be on your shirt on Thursday night? And if so, do you have autograph signings for those people at all? I don't know. As far as I know, no patches. As far as autograph signings, I don't know on that either.
No.
So no,
and you don't have anybody hired to run your social media for the week and let the fans know where they can find you.
No.
Nothing
like that.
What's your week gonna look like?
I have no idea. I really don't know. I know on the 7th, whatever, or the 8th, not the 7th, maybe the 8th. I'm supposed to go with Begay to be on Flint's show. Mm-hmm. And there's maybe one other one, maybe I don't know yet, somewhere in there. I do have to sign for the hotel at some point. I think Monday maybe. I don't know. Like, I feel busy even though I'm not busy.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to do, or anything your kids want to do? Or
I think anything that we do, my kids are okay with, as of now, because they don't know anything. We went to Top Golf last night.
I heard everybody was at Top Golf last night. Patrick and his kids were there too.
Yeah, that's what. I seen that after. But like Derek and his family, Justine, Brindle, everybody, I'd be like, hey, let's go Top Golf. I'd never been Top Golf. My boys have never been Top Golf. So I was like, sure, let's go see what that's about. And they had a good time. Like, that's something we probably will do again just because it was interesting. It's right there. It was close. It was nice. It was just fun, like not knowing what we're doing. So it's another something we can all do together.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. Everything else, I think, is like, let's just see. I know my wife's entered at the World Series some point. She's more of the schedule. Like, she's the one that tells me way more about, hey, this is what you got going on, which it's more about what she's going to have going on. Other than, like, tonight, she'll know, like, hey, this time we got to be there for the back number deal. The grand entry, this is what time you got to be there for that. She's done a good job of keeping track of the stuff that I have to be at. And then after that, I think it'll just be like, let's just feel our way through this deal.
Is your dad here?
No, he'll come up. He's entered with my wife and some other at the World Series. So he'll come up at some point, but I don't know when.
Your mom would be pretty proud. Do you think she would have got a kick out of this? Would she believe that you're here?
Yeah, that I don't know. Like, I have thought of that a few times. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what my mom would. It would be interesting for me to know what my mom would have been like. Like, she'd have been proud, right? I mean,
sure.
But like I have wondered that a few times. I wonder exactly what she would have said.
Would she have, like, got shirts printed with your back number on them?
Yeah, no, my mom wasn't like that too much. Like, my wife might. Yeah. She might have done that. I don't know.
We don't know. It might already be a surprise, yeah.
No, my mom was more be a fan.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you overwhelmed? Is talking about it making it more...
No.
Like,
I don't...
Processing it more? Or?
No, it's good. I mean, the thing about it is, like, I just don't want... I don't have anything figured out.
That's okay. I think that's what makes it real.
It is. That's what I mean, though. Like, I don't want people to think, well, he's got it figured out. Or, he's just not. I was like, yeah, I really don't. I have no idea.
Just here.
Yeah.
Just along for the ride.
I mean, the whole deal with this horse. Like, I have no idea what's... Because I have thought, like, something could happen to Paul's Roan. And then he brought her, right? So I've already, like, okay, so I'm just... I have no idea. Which is kind of frustrating in a sense, because I was like, I should have a better idea. But it just worked out. Like, honestly, it has worked out this way, and I don't know why.
But when Derek roped with Brady here, he had no idea either what he was going to ride, and he just hopped on Kita at the last minute.
Derek, it doesn't bother Derek. Like, that's his character. He likes that. I'm trying to get where I can deal with it. I don't like it. I like to kind of have an idea. I like to know that I did my part. And that was, I guess, another one of the fear things is like, am I doing my part? I know he doesn't care, right? Like he's whatever's
happy to be here.
Yep, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's fine. But I'm more of like, man, am I doing my part to? Because let's be real, he's really good at whatever he does. Like, there's no, I don't care if you're welding, if you're mechanicking, if you're building a trailer, if you're catching cattle,
if you're
art,
painting,
yes, like
sketching,
anything. I've been around him, like whatever he does, like he is dang good at it. So it's easy. I feel like watching him, I'm like, okay, so it's easy for him where I'm not that way. Like, I can have confidence, and like killing steers is easy. Just got to get there and catch 2 feet.
Yeah.
Well, now this is not so easy because it's tricky. If I was to just go about it like normally, I would look like I did on the fourth one. I know that. Like, I am behind, and then panic, and then it just goes south from there. So it's just like, have I done my part? But everything has worked out. Like, that's what I was kind of getting at. It's worked out this way. Like, I was going to ride Paul's Roan, Kid Rock. And so it was like, I was comfortable. I've never run a practice steer on that horse. He fit me. It didn't matter what the setup. Like, I was confident. And so I had to laugh. I actually was laughing to myself because I was gathering some cows by myself when Paul called me to tell me what was going on. And I kind of smiled because I was like, yep, that's how this is supposed to, that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And now what am I supposed to do with it? I have no idea. Because then I was like, well, my horse, he's supposed to be sound. I got 2 weeks. That's quite a bit of time. Well, stuff happened at home with the ranch and some water and this and that. And like, it wasn't like I tried to rope with my family as much as we could in the evening. And most of the time it was rushed. Like, hey, we got an hour before it's dark and it's cold and let's run the steers up.
So was Colter Lee turning all the NFR steers back for you, or
no? It was more of my wife. Well, they all three took turns, but it was more. The trouble was it wasn't like NFR full contact. It was like, hey, I just want to ease my horse through this because he's been hurt. So we went about it like that, and I was like, yeah, it's working out all right. I mean, felt pretty good about it. We had some days where I was like, this ain't gonna work, and then the next day would be okay. Of course, my wife's always like, it's fine. He looks good. It'll be fine. We didn't get any videos or anything, so it was like I'm going off a feel. And then of course, I went to all these jackpots right before coming here because I was like, this is the only way I'll really know is to get into competition because I haven't done, as far as any competition, I really haven't done anything since Sioux Falls. Went to the circuit finals, but Paul came, brought the roan. It was nothing. So, like, I hadn't been any competition. So, like, I at least got to have competition before I come here to where it's not just. And I'm glad I did because then it was like, okay, I have enough wisdom to know this is not going to work. And then it was kind of funny because I was just thinking, okay, now what?
Yeah.
What am I going to show up on? I don't know. What am I going to throw my saddle on? I don't know. How's it going to go? I don't know. And it felt good today.
That's awesome.
Good enough that I'm not just panic-stricken. I'm kind of excited now.
Well, like, doing your part, you said about doing your part. If you were to pick, like, okay, what horse that is on these premises has won the world title already?
Right.
Like, it's not like you're getting on.
No, right.
She has proven that she can win.
Right.
It's
no,
just
and
a
she's
matter of
really
the adjustment.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's more of me, just me, like,
yeah,
having that confidence